Like Scott Adams had said, that there is no fixing this. There is going to have to be victory on one side or the other. Somebody is going to have to win, and another side is going to have to lose. That it will have to be like truly an interpretation like that. Like, no, Democrats, you have to lose. And the reason why is because you seem to we're starting to rack up the evidence on this. That it seems your party because it's a party that wants to try a different set of rules. The standards are really high. So if we had just different standards, see, you want to call them different. You don't want to call them lower because you don't really believe. You want to think there's no such thing as hierarchy, that there isn't higher quality, things like that. And there is. Now, because of all the stuff that it's kind of like, no, but that is the way it is, and you guys just don't accept it. One of the things that has started to hit is that the surveys that are done on, especially a lot of people who vote your way, you're psychopaths. You're the kind of people who do things that you know are ethically and morally wrong. And then you like look at somebody who's, they're looking you in the face saying, why did you do this to me? And you go, but why are you mad at me for it? That's a personality type seems to go into your party. And it also is something that seems to skew more female in the present generation. Social media seems to have exacerbated this among women. And this was something that Roosh V kind of called to some degree when he said that women would just be walking around with like little selfie drones, and they would just be constantly living in sort of a fantasy world that they're creating of what their online life is like compared to their lonelier, more miserable real life. Now, what's kind of interesting is that he was sort of already on he's kind of turning out to be right about a lot of that. But and it also is starting to already exist. It's just that he was seeing that it would naturally metastasize and get bigger. And so there you have narcissism, and so the psychopathy, the narcissism, usually there's a Machiavellian aspect to it as well. And that's you guys. You all really behave that way. You don't believe in duty or honor. All of that stuff is just some kind of macho, these weird macho words that you all you don't understand. You don't. The concept is you don't. There's nothing that's so sacred to you because of the 5 pillars of personality. That which is sacred, you don't really give a shit. There's nothing in life that's really sacred, truly to you. You don't sanctify anything. The only thing that's sacred to you is you, because you're a narcissist. And so this is all stuff that we're starting to realize about the left, that this is why you're overwhelmingly artists and writers and soft science people. Because hard science has absolute standards, and either you can meet them or you can't. So here's where you guys fail at this, where that hard science is computer programming and making a video game. That's hard science. Coming up with the ideas for the artwork and stuff like that, that's different. But actually making the game work, that's hard science. And that's product, that's creating a product. Well, you guys can't do that. You've shown over and over and over again that the standard for making the game even function, you can't do that. So this means that your testers, your quality assurance section, is below standard. And so it's probably because your writing, your whole crew is below standard. And that's why you need then what looks like government money to save your companies over and over and over again, even though they're not like blue chip size. And so, there are these tiny little firms that without NGOs wouldn't be able to get up out of a chair. And so more and more, we're all figuring this out because we're finding you guys on LinkedIn. We're finding your own articles about your companies and how they're getting their money. So it's not, so we know, it's like we know you aren't up to snuff, and that's why, like Sweet Baby and these people aren't up to snuff, so they have to vulture and pick at the bones of an industry. They have to make money off of other people's work and other people's effort. This is very similar to what you see with school teachers now and liberal school teachers. These are people that cannot teach math and they cannot teach logic or grammar. So they cannot pass on the trivium. They cannot even begin to pass on the trivium. Because, without logic, the rest of it doesn't matter. And we keep seeing this more and more and more of, by having any kind of moment that young people have to defend some idea that all the young people are embracing. They can't use language to make it make sense. Their arguments are crap. It's pretty bad. And there's nothing that's going to fix it. Now, the beauty of this is that for now, there's a lot of people that things are still okay enough for you. Very, very important. That I was recently thinking about this. See, there's a great potential that I know is out there. It's mostly these young men who are clever to the point of being dangerous. And there is a degree to which at some point there's going to have to be something that is that which gets men like this physically together. And it's not going to be the church. Because this is why I had a fascination with Freemasonry, because of the fact that it pulled men together from different denominations during times that it was critical for you had to have every community of men. And these were guys who their grandfathers were chopping each other to pieces with swords, and using blunderbusses against one another, and so now, they're this is a different era, and seeing all of the different communities that took it on, Jewish Freemasons, Native American Freemasons, Black Freemasons, the entire concept of the revolt against the Spanish within in their colonial world, that all came out of that all came from the lodges. So that's why there's a part of my mind that's like, at some point you gotta have the physical dojo. That's how it works. You gotta have the clubhouse. At some point you gotta have the lodge. You gotta have the place where the men meet to deal with what can be fixed. So there's no fixing this. This is one of the now, how this plays out, I can't even begin to imagine. But there is no fixing this. You just have too much of the population that are just living in a fucking fantasy. And it's at this stage, it really is phantasmagorical. It's that what they have to invent to live in their fantasy world. The villains they have to invent, the problems that they have to believe exist. They're, preposterous, childish, immature, of poor citation consistently. And so there's no fixing this. One of the key things that's going to come of all of this is that there is going to be some kind of very physical separation of various types of populations. And also, at some point, there's going to have to be the hardness. The hardness is going to have to come. Nobody wants it. And everyone on the right is like, no, we can't. We can't. It's over if we go hard on them. Everybody gets this. Everybody gets it. It's like, no, they're criminal morons. They're always going to use crime and chicanery and lies and all that to get what they want. If we crush them, we might not have a republic. And that's us growing up. That's when we become a full-grown adult country then. And the thing is, my whole thing is, I'm just waiting. So Kyle Bass just did something on what really is going on with China. How good is it really for China right now? And what Kyle Bass mapped out about China, what has come up more and more about what Europe is having to do, because they know they don't have the arms. To get the arms, you have to build the industry. To build the industry, you got to go into debt. Holy shit. It was a fucking... Jim, it was like a Corvette from 86. Holy shit. All right. And, this stretch, the cars I see are great. But anyway, for France to actually act like it has a dick in its pants, it's going to have to go into debt to build up some weapons. And they're already trying to figure out how to do that. But the European system, there's legal restrictions on how any or all countries can use funds to fabricate dual use or weapons or anything like that. It's a big deal. And so they've hamstrung themselves. They can't fight Russia because of their own laws prevent them from having weapons. What a bunch of fucking cucks. And so so now what's going to be coming from this is a period of time that people are going to have to try to have a hard reaction to something, because everybody wants what they want. But what key to this is that you have this burgeoning populism and nationalism in all these countries that it's like, okay, yeah, but what you guys want is existentially a threat to me, my community, and my family. And they're not going to get past that, because family units, economically speaking, are pretty much what you require. You know, it's these politicians don't have anybody to vote for them or supply them with taxes if they don't have family units. The only thing they can do is just inflate the money supply and just print money. So and which it looks like that is going to be the case, that there's going to be a major attempt to just print money in one way, shape, or form or another. So there's not really a way of fixing this. The government, the hearings on the weaponization of the government are showing that the government, that right now we're finding out the government is geofencing people who buy certain things. And then they go on lists to later be reviewed by somebody in the DHS and the FBI. That this is now, there's no way around this. This has been absolutely testified to. It's a wide variety of items: firearms, Bibles, conservative books. I wouldn't be surprised if also like swag from conservative sites, probably things like Trump flags, from either a website or it just that the banks just note that that's what it says. They have some kind of note of what the product is, and you're put on the list. The only description for this, with this kind of arrangement between corporations and a political party to actually find its opponents by what they buy, that's pretty definitively fascist, and it is very much in line with the history of the Democrats when you really start to do your digging on what they're kind of the dark side of their history. When they before the Civil Rights Voting Acts, like how do they really behave? What were they really like? So there's no real fixing what's about to come. China's economy is not going to buoy the world. Too many nations now, they can't produce medicine to the point that it's actually like a real crisis, like it's a crisis in the United States right now. There's all kinds of medicines you can't get anymore. The FDA doesn't really know how to source Chinese medicines and their ingredients, and so now it really is a matter of no. There's going to have to be a reindustrialization. This reindustrialization can't be done with this illegal immigrant army. That's not going to happen. They're going to have to go, and it's going to have to take the hardness. And Republicans are going to have to become a party that's like, no, now it's our turn, and you lose, and it's just that it's our turn, and you lose, and that's how it's going to be. And they're going to have to present the argument. It's going to have to be the ugliest of arguments. Here's what these people really do. Here's what these people really are. Here's what these people really think about you. And you just expose, and now that's starting to become normal. And everybody's starting to understand that, like, no, liberals really are these, like, envious, resentful people with crazy, problems. A lot of them have, require mental illness drugs. There are people who've been on behavior drugs all their life. A lot of single mommery going on, and so there's no fixing it. There just comes a point at which that such an alliance of such people just have to sit back and say, oh no, we're not really good at this. You guys should come up with some policy for this, because this is way more your bailiwick. They're not going to do that because they can't be wrong. Sign language, the N for never being wrong. So for how much hope I have for the young that are really clever. There's a lot of Gen Xers, angry, resentful late boomers, and then the completely kind of ruined end of the millennials. That's a real mess. And say like Oregon, now it's a state that's 44% rise in overdose deaths. There's tremendous problems. So the blue enclaves have their own problems. China has their own problems. It would take literally one or two fundamental policy changes in trade that would bankrupt Russia. We're all going to face something bad coming. Future belongs to those who are prepared.